Hello one and all. Here is going to be a 7-string baritone with some pretty cool pickups. It's going to be an LP style type shape with a few little nuances in it. Some cool pickups. It's going to be a hell of a build. I've just got permission from the owner to film all this, and today is day one. Going into it are going to be these Fishman Fluence Modern 7 pickups. They're pretty funky, to be honest with you. We have multiple gizmos inside. They're pretty all singing, all dancing affairs. Fantastic from Fishman. They come with all the various bits and bobs and pots and all sorts of things, and a bunch of wiring in here that I have currently no idea what to do with. We'll come to that once we've started to build a body shape. On top of that, we've got some heavy core 7-string things to make it go chug. We've got a bridge, we've got a nut, we've got a couple of pots of paint and things like that, a few knobs, all the things that a grown boy needs to start going with a very cool build indeed. Body shape. That's going to become the template for the flame maple top. So we're going to cut this out, sand it, and then that can be our template. One top come template. So the idea of that is we can slap that onto the swamp ash that I've just got jointing at the moment, cut around the edge, use that border as a template. You've got yourself a nice flush cut shape. Right, and we have one cut out swamp ash body. Here's the top. Underneath at the moment, as you can possibly see, I've just got some markouts for where the tenon goes, for where the pickup goes, marked out where the volume and tone controls go, and the switch up on the top there. So the next thing to do is route all of those bits out. Then the top goes on. Then we find where those bits are from my plans, cut out the middle top bits, and all of a sudden you're really starting to get a body. Holes cut. Let's see if the holes fit the things they're supposed to fit. Quick tidy up. So we've got the two pickup cavities there. Got control cavity down here, which is obviously full way through, so that when the top goes on, you've got a nice big cavity there. Let's see if these little mummers fit. So like a glove, absolutely beautiful. Alright, so the body's as far as I can get it until the neck arrives. Now it's time to do the fretboard. So I've got my little cutout here. As you can see, that just fits on there as a single piece, but I only need that bit. So I'm going to plane this down, cut the fret slots, radius it off, get the frets in, and then it's ready to install as soon as I start on the neck. So let's get to it. Right, so we've got a fretboard blank. So the next thing to do is, and as much as all of my designs have measured up all the marks, I always want to make sure that everything is double checked. So we're going to get the old tape measure, get that to 0, which is that end. Stick that on and re-measure everything so as I know I've got a nice accurate fretboard. Because obviously for a 27-inch scale length, I haven't got to hand an actual jig to mark them off. So the plan of action will be just to make sure that everything is measured, and we'll sticky that on there, make sure it's flush to the edge, and now we've got an immovable measuring point. And get a nice sharp pencil and measure everything up. I'll put you on time lapse for that. And there we are, that's all of those marked up. So the idea is that this is going to be the back. I can see these marks. We will be able to sand those off so as they're not there for gluing purposes. But it will allow me to have a mark so that I can then go and cut on the saw and job's a good one. And there we are, we have some fret slots. Next thing you've got to do is just make sure you haven't cut any on the piss, because that would be rather terrible. Shouldn't be, because everything's well set up from my, my jig over here. But at the same point, one has to double check these things, otherwise one is a prat. And that's good. Let's just also count up. Yes, so we can count as well. Splendid. And we have a couple of accurate markings on there, as you can see. Now we've got marks on here for where the dots are going to go. We've got the actual borders of the fretboard, so next we're going to cut those down, make sure they're nice and square and flat and straight and all the rest of it, and then we can use this, like we did for the other bit, as the template for the actual neck itself. Lovely. And there you have it, one fretboard with fret slots, oh hello, smash the camera, marked up, centre line, markings for here. What I'm going to do next is just make some crosses from corner to corner, make sure that centre line is absolutely on the money. Then it's time to inlay the fret dots at some point. They've yet to arrive. They're going to be very cool ones, the little glow in the dark affairs. And yeah, there you go, happy days. And just to prove a point that scale plans actually work, you can see there that everything matches up beautifully. Measurements actually happen. What I'll probably have to do, as you can see, is that one is slightly getting focus, you bugger, ever so slightly over the plan drawing. At such a point as it becomes a reality, we will see whether or not that needs to be chopped down a little bit or not. But we can always lose a mil or so from the end there. Yeah, it's going to look cool. So then, the neck blank is sorted. We've got a nice laminated maple, walnut, 5-ply laminated thing. I think for a modern guitar with a longer scale length, it's nice to have a little bit of support, and a laminate neck will do that. So, and it also looks cool. I think the little strappy bit on there. I mean, obviously from the front you're not going to see it because you've got your fretboard to slap on there. But all things considered, I think it looks quite cool. As you've noticed, I give myself a hell of a lot of room here for the headstock. I still, with a 7-string, want to make sure that we get a straight string pull and I get the neck angle right and the spacing looks right. So I'm putting the truss rod in now. That's going to pop in there. Then we'll do the tenon, then we'll do the actual cutting, and we'll leave the headstock till the very end. Okay, let's do this. prod slot. Next thing I want to do is use my same Les Paul templates to get the long tenon in place. So very simply, don't know what that was. I've got a couple of edges of tape around there to make sure that you end up with a slightly oversized tenon that you can cut down. And then we're going to just pop a little bit of tape down there. Do the same sticky tricky that we do on everything. Need some glue. Need some activator. So the nice thing about all the templates are, they've got their centre lines on already. So I've got my 16th fret line. Get that all married up. I overlay my centre lines, I double check before the glue goes off. Job's a good one. So we'll chop out these two, there you go. And I'll just hold that for a second. Yeah, little mama papa. Right, so the idea will be that you cut down the sides here, wrap those flush with this. You've got an oversized tenon, and then we go on and use the same thing to cut down there. Then we've got a essential neck template. Then we start on that bloody headstock. Okay, we have a tenon. Now we need to pop this onto here, cut down the sides, shape them off, and then we should have a reasonable area here. And as I say, work on that headstock in a minute. And there we are, fresh off the router. So now we've got a thing that looks kind of like an oar. We just need to get this turned into some sort of headstock. And we cut ourselves a neck. Cool. All right, we've got a headstock. So we've got a 7-in-line reverse headstock, trying to keep a bit of an arundel shape to it. So that's kind of cool. Fretboard looks good on top there, dead happy with that. So next thing we need to do is cut the tenon. Well then, so we've got a headstock, looking pretty funky. We've got this cut down to 21mm from the top of the fretboard. I'm still waiting on the dots to come in here. So whilst that's happening, we're going to carve the neck, fit the tuners, which are these little black mamas, and make sure that everything's going well. From the look of this, the neck break angle is such that we've probably got the end tuners going in about yonder. They are going to need some form of compression down here to make sure that they're not buzzing. What I'll do is I'll do that at the very end, because you never know your luck. But in the meantime, what we need to do is get these fitted onto here, make sure that we start to get this looking like a neck before we do all the fretting. So first thing to do is where I've marked them, get those in. Oh, we need a new battery. Come here, the new battery. Battery's dead, damn you. Right then. Please don't have done that. Oh, got away with it. Hate going through the back so quickly because you get tear out. Got away with it. Be more gentle. Better. no tear out. Good, we shall continue. Okay, we have holes. As it stands, they are not quite big enough. I want them to be tight, but actually allow the pegs to go in. So the next thing to do is just give these a couple of turns with the reamer, and then recheck. And as soon as you get them dropping in flush, like so, maybe one more turn. Then we can start to get them aligned. So I'll just pop on and do that now. So tightened and aligned. Move all the other crap out of the way. And then all you need to do with these is just give them a tiny little one of them. And then that should allow the screws to pop into position. So as you see, I've probably drilled down as a pilot hole about 1.5 mils, maybe 2 mils. What I want to do is make sure that the rest of the screws, which I should just lube up now, I've got plenty of evidence to kind of almost self-tap. And they go in an absolute treat. Lovely. And there we go, set of tuners. All in, all happy days. Jolly good. Okay, carving the neck. Very simply, we have the Shinto saw rasp, curved rasp. We've got lines already on the back there where the walnut's in. I've got lines on the side there, as you can possibly see. And the idea is that we're going to make facets until it curves around into a slim C shape. So you start to take off until you're at the line. Make a lot of sawdust and mess and gently go through it. So facet number 1 complete. So it goes from the walnuts right down to that line. And we just keep doing that until we've got a rounded edge. Okay, 2 facets down, you're beginning to see it's looking more neck shaped already. So the next thing to do is make another line down through the middle here, right down to the edge there, and we'll slowly start to curve that round with ever and ever decreasing sized facets. Right then, I am a little out of breath after doing that because maple is hard and that was actually physically quite demanding. But what we've got without any sort of sanding is a bunch of facets that have turned into a nice C shape. If you ever want to carve a neck, I would highly recommend getting right down onto about half to a third way through the fretboard and making the 2 join up. It will feel beautiful in the hand. If you end up cutting right down to the edge and stopping on a flat surface, it does not feel so comfy in the hand. So by the time you've then rounded off a little bit of the fretboard, you've got that tiny kind of little curve onto it and it feels absolutely lovely. Feels, you know, worn in. Right, the next thing to do is get this sand down to profile. I'm sure there's going to be the odd little step in there. So you just rub some sandpaper over this kind of saw fashion, get everything carved down to its final carve. There's a little bit there. And it'll start to take off those high spots, get it lovely and smooth. So that's next. Right then, so again, this is pretty uber technical. You get a little strip of sandpaper, and all we're going to do is just gently bring this along. And you can see that sanding lines beginning to appear. Once I've got to about there, hold your breath, dust. I'm going over it, I'm feeling for the high spots. So right at the end here, there's a couple, but seeing as I've now got to go and carve in this body joint, I'm less concerned by that. It's the general profile of things. And actually, it's feeling pretty good. I'm going to just carve in at the top here to make sure that this carve here is right up to the nut. Make sure that everything's lovely and smooth on there. And then that feels almost done. That's very happy days. And there we go, smidge of sanding just purely for carving purposes rather than smoothing. And we've got ourselves a slim C neck profile. Very happy with that at this stage. Plan of action now is to give this a day or two. I've removed a lot of timber there, which means there's a tendency for the wood to shift, either back bow or bow. By the time I've started to fret that, what I want to do is make sure that we can then adjust the truss rod to such a point that it's flat. At the moment it still seems pretty flat, but got to give that a day or two. Or bound. Next thing to do is get the stain on this. For that one I will chat with Chris and we'll see what we're going to do. And there's the back looking pretty funky. Okay, quick guided tour of the colour scheme. So we've got that blue burst, which I've just given over again. It looks blue, it's made the grain pop really nicely. That is a pretty fucking cool colour if you ask me. The back I have toned right down with that black and amber that I was talking about. So that looks like that now. Sides I've kept really dark so that you get a transition from the blue into anything you want me to change on that, or if you're happy with it, mate, just let me know. Okay, just put on the first couple of coats of lacquer. As you can see, we've got a gloss nitro on the top. The back is done with a satin. That needs to dry off before I can cut and polish that. Maybe add a few more layers. So I'm out of the country for a couple of weeks. That'll be perfect timing. Okay, it's made. I think it's wired. I just need to get a battery to check. It's looking pretty cool. Let's have a look at the back. And there's the back. You've even got that. So if you could do me a favour and post me the old address again, I'd be most grateful.